Whoa, it's using the wrong camera. With every read aloud, you have to go back and think about what you have read. Now, it has been a really, really long time since we started this, right? This is not something that we have been doing consistently. It's been 2 weeks since we've read it. So a lot of us have already forgotten what it is exactly that we have read. So I'm going to go back and do a quick review of what the story is. It's going to be new for some of you because some of you have never read any of it or heard any of it. All right. So for this, it's very important that everybody's mics are muted. Okay. So we're going to have everybody go on mute. We're going to be thinking about our reader's response question, which was, dun, 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 what did you find the most interesting about the book that you read? Now, can I tell you what the most interesting thing about the book that I read before I read it? No. So I'm going to be doing that as we go. So this is called Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. No, it can be the same book, okay? Abdul, that's one of the things that you missed this morning was that I'm asking you guys to read a chapter book, okay? And you can do it on this book, on these read alouds, because we're going to start doing these read alouds at 11:50 every day, 11:45, okay? So you can do it to what you hear for those 10 minutes. Now, this book is about these 6 kids that are in a classroom together, and their teacher has given them 1 hour every week where they get to go and just talk. There's no teachers in there. There's no grown-ups. They can talk about whatever they want, and they get to sit and talk through it. We've met several different characters through it. We've met Esteban, whose dad has gone missing. We have come to find out we think immigration has taken his dad. He was undocumented and immigration has taken him and they don't know where he is. So that's really scary. Now, these kids are all 10 to 12 years old. They're your guys' age. We have Holly and Haley. Those are the only 2 girls. We have Ashton and somebody else, and Tiago, and there's another guy whose name starts with a T. They've all had different experiences in their lives, and they're coming together and just kind of talking through things. So one of them one day was when Tamir Rice had just been killed, and they talk through that, and they talk through that moment. Now, this has a lot of stuff that happens in real life in this book, which is pretty cool, because it makes it very relatable, which means you can understand it because you have had similar experiences in your life, or you haven't. All right. So I'm going to start with chapter 22, and let's see if it jogs any of more memories. All right. The first time we saw Esteban smile, really smile again, was in December. Now, Esteban is the kid whose dad has disappeared. It was because of poetry. The Thursday night before, he had gotten a letter from his father, who was still in Florida at the detention center. At least he's still in this country, Esteban said, even though he's far away. And he's okay, I said. Okay-ish, Holly said, but that's better than nothing, right? Esteban had come down from the windowsill and was sitting with us in the circle. He unfolded the letter from his father. It was written on yellow legal pad paper. Esteban handled it delicately as we all leaned in to look at it with him. His father's handwriting was small and careful, each letter so clear. It almost looked typed. He wrote me a poem, Esteban said. He said he has time to write now. He said when he writes, it's like he's back in the apartment with us. Nobody can touch it, he said. We all put our hands down in our laps. Even Holly lowered her needles. Now, Holly likes to knit, so she knits a lot of times during these meetings. That's cool with me, Amari said. Me too, I said. But can you read it to us, at least? It's in Spanish, Esteban said. But I wrote an English version too, because one day I'm going to be his translator. You know what that is, right? So now some of you guys might have parents that don't speak English or don't speak English very well. So you might be able to make a connection right now, a connection to your life and the book, which is a story to life to text connection, right? Because maybe you do translating for your parents. We nodded, but Esteban was so excited, he explained anyways. I'm going to rewrite all his poems in English for him, and we're going to sell books in the DR and in America. Then Esteban cleared his throat and read. When they came for me, I lifted my hands to them, let them wrap the cuffs around my wrists. I did not fight, I did not yell. When they pressed me into the van, there were others who spoke our language, a language of sun and ocean and beauty, a language of birds and merengue. We leaned across the van towards each other and knew the same people back home. Always remember, when you are with your people, you are home. Esteban finished reading the poem and carefully put it back into his notebook, carefully put his notebook back into his bag. I kept staring down at my hands, a stone in my throat like I'd choked to death. I saw my father's head again, being pushed down into the police car. Was he crying when it happened? Did he look towards me? Did he know that everything was gone? I took a deep breath, then another. Air wasn't coming in fast enough. Haley, I heard Amari say, you okay, Red? I nodded, but kept my head down. It's beautiful, I choked out. He said he's going to write me more poems, Esteban said. He said he'll write them until we're all together again. He's a good poet, Tiago said. He reminds me of the other poet guy, the one Miss Laverne read us, the one who wrote that poem about a blank white page or something. Alarcón, Holly said. Francisco Alarcón. I tried to remember Alarcón, but couldn't. My head felt so heavy. Maybe this was the weight of the world people talked about. The gray ghost that took your breath and your words. How do you even remember that? Amari was saying to Holly. Because he said his name 100 times and wrote it on the board. Geez, how do you not remember that? Yeah, Tiago said, that guy. He's going to write me more of these, Esteban said. He promised, and I'll read them in English and Spanish because it's for both languages. That's what's up, Amari said. Read those poems in all kinds of Americans, son. When I finally looked up, Esteban was smiling. Okay. So that's the names of all the people in this book, right? We had Amari, Esteban, Tiago, Holly, Haley, and who was the other one? Starts with an A. Amari. Did I say that? So they all have their own struggle. They all have their own thing, right? Esteban's dad, they're from the Dominican Republic, and his dad had disappeared. Haley, who is the girl who's narrating, she's the I in this story. Her father was arrested when she was like 3 years old. So she's grown up with her uncle. Her mother also died. So she's only lives with her uncle. And so just there, she was making a connection too, right? Like she was thinking about like a time when he was the dad wrote in his poem about being handcuffed, she was remembering a time when her dad was handcuffed, something that was very prominent in her memory. I don't know, we don't know yet why her dad got arrested, Winnie, but that's a great question. So when I go back and I look at my reader's response and I think, what did you find most interesting about the book that you read? Your task now is to think about everything that just was said and what stands out to you about it. So for me, I thought the poem was super cool. I thought it was beautiful. But the most interesting part for me was Haley's reaction to the poem. So for me, when she starts talking about, I kept staring down at my hands, a stone in my throat, like I'd choked to death. I saw my father's head again, getting pushed down into the police car. Was he crying when it happened? Did he look towards me? Did he know that everything was gone? To me, I could feel that. I could feel that feeling about when I'm about to lose it and I am going to cry, and you get that lump in your throat and it actually hurts. That to me was the most interesting part. So that's what I'm going to write in my journal entry. I'm going to say, when I'm doing my journal entry, that, whoops, I have to go to add response. Now, some of you have already submitted this, which again, guys, we haven't gotten there yet. So to me,
aren't you not supposed to like add the response, or like not add the response? I mean, submit.
you don't
draft,
you just draft it. Yep. So for me, the most interesting part of the book today was Haley's reaction to Esteban's dad's poem. I could feel the lump in my throat. I love that she made connection. So she's making her very own connection to the story. Okay? And we all have some sort of connection. Maybe we have a parent that has been incarcerated. Maybe we have family that has gone to jail. Maybe we don't. Maybe we know what it's like to really, really, really feel what someone else has written. Maybe we have a parent that writes poetry. Maybe we have a parent that speaks Spanish. There's so many different things that we could do, okay? That you could find interesting because of the connections that you make. All right, now that was page number 101. Oops, I can actually just write that with the pen. I don't have to go in there. 101, and it's Harbor Me. I recommend typing this, but that's okay. All right, and then I am done with my reader's response entry for today. I'm going to click draft. And then we are all done. Okay. So when we are doing these readings, I'm going to try to, there we go.